Let's go to Jennifer or Jennifer next. Here's the question. Within my shared ownership building community, I used to speak my points of view less due to lack of confidence. I've gained confidence to speak my points of view to care about our building and its finances, but they treat me very badly, so protecting myself is important. They feel that I have treated them badly. I'm thinking the place to start is more strategies to protect myself when interacting with them. Hi, Jennifer. Where would you like to start?
What came up while you were talking to Colby was the I can't do it alone because it's like we're each in our bubbles trying to do stuff and then we come together briefly and it's a mess. So that there is one person in the building that I can get support from. So the parts, because I'm willing to speak my mind, but I don't communicate in a way that works for them.
Okay.
But I'm not going to stop speaking my mind, but I get
Yep.
a lot of blowback.
Okay. Oh, that's
So
hard. Yeah.
And then because of that, I end up doing things that harm them as well.
Okay.
And so I would like to avoid that.
Give me an example of what you mean by that.
Me harming them.
Yeah. And then what blowback means. Like, what does blowback look and sound like? And then what does harming back look and sound like?
So I'm the most technically astute. There are a couple of men with PhDs, but they're not interested in like changing their mind. Like, this is what I believe. Oh, wait, we got more information. So I feel like I'm the only one that can kind of hold things and say, this is what really makes sense. But they're always arguing with me and trying to prove me wrong. And it's never like, well, this is how I feel. And it's a conversation. It's like they try to shut me up by
Okay.
saying things. And I tend to at times give up much less than I used to. So it's that sense of not being listened to. So I did have a tantrum Saturday evening and I actually broke the front door lock. And then they say, well, you have to pay for it. And I initially refused and they threatened to call the police on me, or they mentioned the police, which felt like threatening to call the police on me. So
Okay. I have a much richer view now of what we mean. Yes, thank you. So it sounds like there are some very deep needs to be seen, to be known, to be respected, to be heard, to be included. And when they don't get met, there's a lot of rage about it.
and I think it's important, they're not ever going to meet those needs. So it's important for me to recognize them and get them met elsewhere
Okay.
before the rage arises.
Okay.
I
That
mean,
sounds like wisdom. Yep.
it's not gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next year, possibly, unlikely, but I want
Yep.
to leave it open.
Yep. 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 So there's sort of an acceptance in that moment, like you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, I'm going to stop demanding that they meet the need and I'm going to meet it elsewhere. I'm going to look after myself that way. And I'm also going to hold the possibility that things might evolve and shift, but I'm not going to be attached to it. Yep.
But it's so just in the moment when we're talking about stuff and just
Yes.
trying to actually have a conversation. And it's kind of maybe me learning when to engage and when not to, and maybe to engage through other people because things coming through me seems to really add resistance.
What is the one thing that you would like them to take in and agree with you on or change?
I can't get past this thought of them, like it feels like it's always about winning,
Okay.
not about coming up to the best
So
solution for
it's
the building.
so it's not so much then, as I asked that question, it sounds like your concern is not so much about a particular outcome that you're looking for. It has to do with what it feels like for you in the room with them.
Because we had a smaller meeting yesterday and it took me out for the rest of the day, not completely, but it really sapped my energy to be with people in the building other than one person. And it was an attempt to be making a group decision. It was worth my going there, but ideally there would be repair, but they're not open to it.
No. So it sounds like if I'm understanding you right, you are in these meetings with people who operate by very different values and who have a very different agenda. They don't enjoy your contributions. They show up in that space in a way that you actually find quite triggering and painful. And you have a commitment to continuing to go back to this space and to express yourself. That's what I think I have so far. What am I missing, and what would you change about how I said that?
The way you say it, it makes me sound like I'm crazy to keep engaging with them.
You start wondering if you're crazy to keep engaging with them. So let's talk with that part of you. Then tell me, what is the good reason why you would keep engaging with them?
We're making decisions about the building. And
Yeah,
so as long as I live here,
yeah,
I want the best decision possible.
yeah.
And
So
so,
that's a good answer, right? The decisions that they are making directly impact the building and the place where I'm living and me. And so I want to weigh in on what those outcomes would be. Is that true? Is that how it is?
yeah,
Right. So let's get really grounded in that intention, because that's going to be an anchor for you. It's one of the ways to depersonalize it a little bit. As a person who lives in this building, I have a vested interest in the decisions that get made here. And I want to know that my voice, my perspective, and my ideas have been considered and included in the process of making the decision. Is that true? Am I saying that accurately? Would you change how I said that?
it's good, but I feel like I want to bring up a piece from before where,
Yes.
so I feel like I do tend to, I do a bit of broken recording, and they do eventually hear me. It's not that they never hear me. It's just
Hmm.
that it's such a fight.
Yeah.
So it's proven worth it to,
Yeah.
and they do take it in. They'll never appreciate me for it.
Yeah. They won't like it, but you're making progress.
There's some reward for, well, I don't know if I like that word, but the effort I'm putting forth, it's not like there's never any result from it.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is, I'm really fighting hard to have my perspective included. And after a really hard fight, it does get included sometimes. So that is encouraging to me. That's part of what keeps me going back, is I do see that it is making a difference. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole dynamic is obviously very triggering and activating and painful. And if I put myself in your situation, it would bring up for me a lot of righteous rage of being heard and seen and respected. And for me, I don't know if this is true for you, there would be a gender dynamic. If I was the woman in the room and it was all men with PhDs pulling rank on me, both by education and by gender, I that would be in the room for me as well as part of the dynamic. Is that relevant for you or not? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that takes a tremendous amount of skillfulness, because what I would need to recognize for myself is I'm actually coming in structurally in a position of less power. And so what I'm doing in this moment is I'm learning how to speak truth to power. And it is going to activate in me all of the ways in which an abuse of power has made me feel invisible, not seen, not heard, not valued, not mattering, those kinds of unmet needs for me, where I have any kind of history of historical pain. It's going to charge up my interactions in that space. And so I'm going to want to just stay aware of that. Does any of that fit for you or not?
Very much. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So then we acknowledge that. We acknowledge that there's a lot of reasons why this particular interaction is charged up, why it's loaded. And then I'm going to get very clear on my intention and my role and my purpose. Because what I want to do is have a new experience of myself. Maybe they will never change, but I'm going to have a new experience of myself, which is what I think I hear you talking about, which is that I want to learn how to stay regulated, powerful, clear, and that I have my voice in the room and that I am showing up in a way that I respect and that I trust in the face of people who may be primed to not take me seriously. And that I'm putting myself in a position where I'm going to keep fielding that. And my objective there would be I'm coming in to have a new experience of strength and groundedness in me. So then my objective here is my relationship with myself. And they are simply that wonderful friend who is going to help you learn the skill, but it's not going to feel good. And if I can frame it up that way, that this group of people are here for me to learn a particular kind of empowerment, it will also change how much reactivity I bring to that space. Because then instead of feeling victimized by them, I will rise to the challenge instead of getting into my victim consciousness about what's happening, which then brings up rage on the back end. So then I'm going to see it as my little Mount Kilimanjaro that I'm trying to get to the top of. And then my focus becomes, how do I stay regulated? How do I stay clear? How do I stay very grounded in my feelings, my needs, and my requests? And then I'm just going in every time to practice. And a win for me is I said what I want to say. I said it in a regulated way. I addressed any little micro moments of like, I need you to let me finish speaking before you dive in. I'm going to get good at making requests like, here's why this is important to me. This is my perspective. Can you first tell me what you heard me say? Maybe what I want to do is get them to at least just acknowledge it. You don't have to agree with me, but I want to know that you're acknowledging what it is that I'm concerned about. Like there's lots of little things that I can just with each meeting just be like, this is the skill I'm going to practice. This is the experience I'm going to have. And maybe I don't get like the outcome or the final decision, but I let go of that for now because what I'm really going to focus on is the process of what's happening in that room and how I'm going to curate it to start being different. So how are some of those ideas landing for you?
It's exactly. I feel like I kind of had it, but not as clear.
Oh,
And it's really helpful. And
yeah.
it's just also helpful, just the basic answer to why do I keep doing this to myself?
Of course. Yeah, because it's your self-empowerment curriculum that you're giving yourself. It's the place where you are learning to stop being a victim, stop self-silencing, stop living out of your internalized oppression, and you're wanting to emerge into a space. And the one thing that just add is have a lot of self-compassion for the rage, for the pain, for the hurt, for the things that are getting triggered. Just recognize, oh, this is the legacy of domination systems. This is what it creates. These are the symptoms of it that it creates in humans. And be gentle with yourself and then try to really resource yourself before you put yourself in that position. Know that these are your Olympics and we train for them. We do the reps, we run the miles, we train for those moments where we go in and then we see, can I do this yet? And you might want to also write out for yourself a vision of how things will go when you know it's been successful. For example, I will walk into the room, everybody will be settled and grounded. There might not be agreement. I will be able to express my point of view. Other people will nod and acknowledge. If they have disagreement, they will be able to say it to me in ways that feel respectful and collaborative. If they're unable to do that, I will maintain respectful and collaborative language. It will sound like this, and this. When people interrupt me, this is what I'm going to do. If somebody says something that is condescending, this is how I'm going to address it. Here are all the scripts I need for calling out little microaggressions that might be happening in a really regulated way that help them see what I want instead. Like I would really spend some time envisioning if this really went well, what would that look and sound like? Because it will give you concrete behavioral anchors of what you're going to bat for. How's that landing for you?
Great.
Yeah.
Like people have said before, I'm glad this is recorded.
That's good. Yeah. Is there more? Is there another question coming up around this? Does it feel complete? Where do you want to go next?
I think it feels sufficiently complete. I
Okay.
appreciate it. It was pretty broad and
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. I
thank you.
celebrate your journey. Yes. I
Thank
hope I keep practicing. It doesn't always have to be all cleaned up. Let it be messy.